Turning now to tensions with China, recent comments made by Taiwan's defense minister seem to imply that American troops are currently training members of the Taiwanese military on its outlying islands. That would be on the front lines of the conflict with China. The Wall Street Journal reports the defense minister's comments marked a rare acknowledgement by Taiwan of activity by American troops on its territory. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Elise Slotkin of Michigan. She's a member of the House Armed Services Committee and a former CIA analyst. She's also a candidate for U.S. Senate. And I guess first I'd like to hear your reaction to the report I just read about American military assistance on these Taiwanese outlying islands.
Yeah, I mean, look, without going into details on those specific islands, I will just say I think we're open about the fact that we have a military relationship with Taiwan. I mean, we have delegations that come here to the United States. I went myself a couple of years ago. Lots of members of Congress on a bipartisan basis have gone. We all know that we're concerned about, scenarios in the future where China could take military action to take Taiwan. And so we don't want that to happen. We want to deter that from happening. And one of the ways that you do that is by helping the Taiwanese become, as we say, like a porcupine, spiky and difficult to take. And so, it doesn't feel terribly like breaking news to say that we have a military, relationship with the Taiwanese.
Congresswoman Jonathan Lemire, good to see you and the tour group behind you there. We wanted to turn you to another matter, which is the situation in the Middle East. We have heard from Majority Leader Schumer being sharply critical of Benjamin Netanyahu, suggesting that Israel needed new elections. Netanyahu hit back. We also heard from Donald Trump suggesting that no Jewish person should vote for a Democrat, suggesting it was a matter of religious faith. And that's the backdrop to the waiting games to see what Israel will do in Rafah, which the White House, of course, has tried to put some guardrails up. So in this perilous moment, how do you see things unfolding?
Well, look, I mean, I think what's important, and we just got reports this morning that the Speaker of the House has formally invited Prime Minister Netanyahu to come to Washington, waiting to see what he does. I think the important thing, long-standing with Israel, is that there's been a bipartisan consensus with support, right? No matter which administration, Democrat or Republican, that's been in basically since their founding, there's been support, and that's the backbone of that strong relationship. You just don't want the sort of weakening, the bending of that kind of bipartisan support. And so while Mr. Netanyahu, has done and said a lot of things that I think a lot of Americans are concerned about, I think the long play for Israel is to maintain that bipartisan relationship. So I hope that he sees that long game. And I think in terms of what's going on in the Middle East, I mean, the fact that some of this criticism is happening now out in the open between the White House and Netanyahu reveals, we tend to not do that unless we can't get the point across privately. So no one wants to see that kind of public spitting back and forth. But it's because I think people feel like they're not being heard. And we want to understand what the end game here is in Gaza. There's got to be a plan, and it's hard to discern that from far away.
Congresswoman, it's Jen Psaki. How are you? I wanted to ask you, I mean, as you know well from all of the work you've done in national security, a lot of what happens behind the scenes we don't see. And as you just said, it's very significant that there is now a public tiff between the United States and Israel right now. It shows you, as you said, that people aren't being heard. What kind of leverage, though, do you think is appropriate? I mean, there's challenges with limiting aid and assistance because they're such an important partner and the Iron Dome needs to be in place. What do you think would work? What would you be open to supporting?
Well, I think, we have a big hearing on this today in the Armed Services Committee where we're going to hear from the Pentagon and understand from the CENTCOM commander, what is the plan as you understand it. You're in those private conversations. Help us understand what the end game is, what the military objectives are here, because that hasn't been clear, I think, besides wanting to uproot Hamas. I mean, it reminds me of when I served in places like, Anbar province in Iraq. You can have a military objective, but you got to be clear clear-eyed about its effectiveness, and that, to me, was a hard lesson we learned in the United States. So we're going to have that hearing today. I took note of the fact that the president now requires the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense to certify that Israel is allowing in humanitarian aid into Gaza. That is their obligation under international law. And I noted that. It's a small, kind of wonky thing, but that's asking Tony Blinken and Secretary Austin to put their name, their stamp on, yes, Israel is doing everything they can from their end to get aid in. And I think that you're going to hear a lot about that. And it's an unusual step for a president to take.
Congresswoman Al Sharpton here. On another issue before your committee is Haiti and the fact that there has been this kind of anarchy in Haiti, no real leadership, Americans being evacuated. What is the committee? We've heard little from them. There's been many Haitian leaders in your state. I stood with the mayor of New York and others here saying there's got to be something that's done about the gun trafficking that's coming from Florida and other parts of the United States that these gangs are getting from the United States.